Welcome back to Brothers in Boots. My name is Mike.
It's Jeff.
And today we'll be going over Isaac's boot collection. Isaac has sent us a 13 boot and 2 shoe collection, and today we'll be going over that. What are we drinking today, Jeff? That looks like a fancy BTAC bottle.
Yes, it is BTAC. Buffalo Trace Antique Collection. William LaRue Weller. Hello, I'm going to have to open up another one. This one is 136.2 proof. William LaRue Weller, same mash bill as the famous Pappy. Higher proof than most of them, especially nowadays.
Yeah, that one always drinks real smooth for its proof. What year is that one?
I want to say it's 2014.
Yeah, the labeling on those are a little bit harder to know. You have to look up their stupid batch numbers. But yeah, I had the 23 over the summer while we were doing all the work trips at the Herbs and Rye, and it was actually pretty good. And honestly, it was only like an $80 pour, which for BTAC is not that expensive. Most BTAC pours are between $140 and $250, which is the price of a fucking bottle. But welcome to BTAC.
36.2. 2013 was a year off. It's probably the one I have the most of.
Yeah. 2013, that's the last bottle of BTAC I bought. We just talked about that earlier. Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
2013, 2014.
Yep. Would have bought it in January of 2014, but it would have been 2013's release. I mean, honestly, controversial opinion, but I think of all the BTACs, that one's my favorite. The Handy's pretty good. I do like the Handy, but I think that one's my favorite of all of them.
It's a lot of people's favorite. It's not my favorite. GTS, George T. Stagg, has always been my favorite.
That's probably most people's, like, the go-to favorite is the one that they know and have tried is the George T. Stagg. But
it does depend on the year. Some years the William LaRue is the best.
No.
Handy usually doesn't do all too much for me. It's really, really good for what it is, but it's only a 6-year product.
Yeah.
It's not. It's usually 6.5. So it's not aged incredibly long, but for the age that it is, it's fun.
Yeah, I've had the 18 and the 21, and the 21 was a Lot C, and I did like that 21 Lot C a lot. That was an expensive pour. I think I paid like $120 for that pour because like the famous fancy Lot C shit. So,
in recent years, actually the Eagle Rare 17 has actually become my favorite over the George T. Stagg. Again, it depends on the year, but for a while it was a 90 proof, and it was a little bit too low to be impressive. But at one point they actually upped it to 101 proof, and once that it was kind of the sweet spot for me because it was aged longer, and 101 was tolerable. So I have sought out the Eagle Rare 17s.
I've never actually had an Eagle Rare 17. I've only had the 2019 Sazerac, and I've never had an Eagle Rare 17.
You're missing out. Next time I open one, I'll make sure you get some.
Cool deal. Alrighty, so Isaac's collection is interesting. He started with a bespoke maker out of, we looked it up, it looks like New Zealand. He didn't tell us, but it looks like she's off the main island of New Zealand. So he started his boot journey with the bespoke and then has worked his way more into more ready-to-wear, made-to-measure stuff. But starting off, his first pair is a Sue Ingles bespoke 8-inch Balmoral semi-dress boot. So Balmoral just means it's a boot style Oxford, which means it's a closed eyelet set. As you can see, these are pretty well worn. I believe he said he uses these for job interviews and funerals these days. Job interviews, weddings, and funerals, sorry. He says they are a bit of a tight fit even with dress socks. And he bought these in 2020.
I mean, that it's the right place to wear it. It's a good looking boot. The sole didn't stick out too far. It's not a one piece, but it is limited pieces. The eyelets are mostly hidden.
I'm sure they started life as hidden eyelets. They've just, as the leather's been worn, they've shown. But that is a blind eyelet style. It is a leather sole with a protector on it, a single row stitch, TPI in the outsoles. Not the tightest we've seen, but the TPI in the uppers is very tight. Is a little bit of a shorter heel.
Wonder what the leather is. It is showing a lot of wrinkles there in the toe area.
Yeah, well, it looks like the upper is most likely either a suede or a rough out too. So the uppers do look to be a suede or some kind of rough out. They are fuzzy, where the lowers are smooth. I don't think he says here. Let me double check.
Something doesn't catch his pant leg.
Well, it kind of looks like they have, because if you look close towards the bottom, right, as you get close to the front of the eyelets, it looks like they've been worn enough to go almost smooth looking. And you can just barely tell that they're slightly fuzzy. So it looks like the lower portions have had a lot of rubbing to almost rub them smooth. Versus, closer to the top where you can definitely tell it's a suede / rough out. He doesn't say what the leather was, but he did mention that Sue trained under John Lobb, which was the inspiration for this model. But it does not say the leather they're made out of. Did say he paid about $500 USD for them in 2020.
It's a nice shoe for dressing up. It's not bulky. It's nice. I guess it's not really a full-fledged dress shoe, but it's certainly a lot dressier than a lot of other things.
Yeah.
It looks like it's extremely comfortable. I become more daring in doing different color edges instead of black. Wonder how I'd think about the way that it looks if the edges are natural.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, so Balmoral is a dress boot. I think these days we'd call... Oh, he says it. Sorry, it is a nubuck upper. It is not a suede. It is a nubuck. He did mention that in here, but it doesn't say the manufacturer of the leather. He said it's
solid boot.
Yeah.
What did he say about fit? I mean, they look like they'd be really comfortable.
He says they're a tight fit with dress socks. Now, that could be, maybe as he's gotten older, they don't fit as well. But he says as now they're a tight fit with dress socks, so he doesn't wear them quite as often. He says there's also his first pair that were made with mismatched shoe sizes.
Oh. Yeah, he said he started off bespoke, and
yep,
certainly something you'd want to do.
And he did make a note that she builds a last for each customer. She uses mostly cement construction, but for $40 USD, she will do a Goodyear welt, which these look to be a Goodyear welt. And that's how she keeps costs down. She's a one-woman shop on an island off of mainland New Zealand, and most of her clients are from the United States and the UK. They are in-person fittings required. But overall, it's a good pair of boots, especially about $500. I mean, the average pair of TLBs, which are TLBs and Carminas, are the more popular Balmorals these days. I mean, they're going to run you $500 to $600 at this point. So that
he does say semi-dress, not dress, so that tracks. I didn't ask him. I wonder if he's in New Zealand or whether that was a trip.
Well, I was thinking the same thing, but with the notes later down, he mentions on a pair that a buddy of his didn't think he was American enough, or he was becoming too American. So I'm assuming he lives in America, but maybe he's from New Zealand. I'm not sure.
Makes sense. And once you got fit, you wouldn't need to be there for additional fittings.
Exactly. But
that's a really nice semi-dress boot.
Yeah. I'm also kind of curious if maybe Flora knows this person since she's from New Zealand as well.
Ask her that.
I will. Hey, brown shinky bootines are going to be done this month, so I'll know sooner rather than later. So
it's a shame. I guess his feet have grown. It's a shame that with dress socks they still are a little bit tight.
yeah, he'd also mentioned it's the mismatched feet, so he could never get the shoe sizes quite right, which is kind of where he made a note that he did try and fail with 3 pairs of Thursdays before this, so this was kind of like the beginning. And then, he got that pair of boots, and then next he commissioned a second pair from Sue. We're going to call her SEB from now on, but that stands for Sue Ingles Bespoke. And that is this pair of two-tone kangaroo jodhpurs. So it's got a rugged outsole, but it's 2 tones of 2 different colors of kangaroo, which tracks because you can see this kind of like kind of cracked nature on it that you see all kangaroo eventually gets. These were
Those are awesome.
Yeah, I'm trying to. So he needed something because all 8-inch boots were getting to him, which is the Balmorals. So he wanted something to get on and off. He had a pair of R.M. Williams at the time, so Chelsea was out. So this is kind of what she persuaded him into doing, and she also, I guess, persuaded him into the 2-tone with the heavier lug outsole. Looks like he's worn these a ton. They do have a medallion. That looks to be a chain-stitched outsole, too. I can't 100% tell, but it looks like it is a chain-stitched outsole.
Zoom in enough.
Yeah, I was able to zoom in quite a bit, and it looks like the same chain you would see on a like a Norwegian welt on the outsole, but it's definitely done with.
It's either a chain or it's 2 of them close together.
Yeah, that was kind of what I was thinking too, but they seem awfully close together in some parts. I think it is a chain, but let's see in the second picture. Is it? No, it doesn't say any better. But as you guys can see, it's a half sole with a little bit more rugged. This looks very similar to the 2332, or what's known as the iron weight mini lug outsole that you see like White's uses on their MP line a lot. But I do like it's 2-toned. The TPI is quite high. Not my choice of medallion. I don't like the fleur-de-lis stuff as much, but it's definitely your kind of fairly standard fleur-de-lis toe medallion. And it's a pretty pair of jodhpurs. I have a pair of blue jodhpurs from Carmina, and this is a very similar style to it. I do like jodhpurs. I do think they are, for a lot of people that struggle with fit, better than Chelsea's in a lot of ways. But if you can get the right fit, especially if you're doing bespoke like this lady, I do think Chelsea's are a good option. But he did mention that he already had a pair of Chelsea's at the time, so he was looking for something else.
You can see the orange coming through in the toe, so
yep,
the orange is going all the way through the toe box.
Yep. Also see that it is a hidden heel counter. So it's a single back strip with an internal hidden heel counter, which is nice for a dressier pair of boots. That looks like this has been used fairly ruggedly. But it is a nice pair of boots. I do agree, and I think kangaroos always... kangaroo and ostrich are super tough leathers that a lot of people do not give enough attention to. Mainly due to the price.
I'm impressed. I want a pair. I can't wear orange like I used to be able to. Although that wouldn't really be showing. So I was sitting down and then still wouldn't be seen much. But that's an awesome boot. I love kangaroo. They're cool colors. Obviously put together very well.
Yeah, very Harley Davidson-esque.
I personally wouldn't be doing the like fleur-de-lis look in the toe box either. I like the look of it. It wouldn't personally be what I would choose.
Yeah, they're really popular. There's like 4 or 5 medallions that you see on a fairly regular basis. I'm not that big of a fan of them. I know like people like TLB and Carmina, you can always get a medallion added to anything you want to. They'll put it in. Like I said, it's just not really my cup of tea. I've never seen a medallion that I particularly like. I don't think that they're bad to be on boots. I would just never pick them. He did mention that this boot was adjusted to fit thicker stocks and had a slightly wider toe box than his last, which does show a little bit. It does have a little bit bigger toe.
Yeah. I'll own a pair of these one day.
Yodpers are cool. I think they're definitely an underrated boot. That is for sure. I do own a pair of Yodpers that I actually like a lot. I mostly wear mine to weddings and funerals, but I like my Yodpers that I have quite a bit. But
Excellent
overall,
pair.
a cool pair. Yeah, I agree.
If I own them, I'd get a lot of wear out of these things.
They're super easy to get on and off too. They're so convenient. That extra strap really lets you get that instep space that you don't get on a Chelsea all the time. That can kind of make them a little hard to get on and off. It's a cool design.
And they're also lined. Looks like also kangaroo.
That's what it looks like. It's got that kind of fluffiness to it that you only get from kangaroo. It does look like a kangaroo liner.
Totally jealous there. Great
Yeah.
build.
It's got a nice solid hardware for the buckles too. Not like that same, like flat metal stamped crap that you see a lot of people use. That's a nice solid, either forged or cast buckle. Nice and thick.
Strap's surprisingly thick too.
Well, it looks like it's doubled up, so it looks like it's got a layer of orange on the bottom to match. Yep. And then it's got the kangaroo and what looks like probably another leather in between, or maybe doubled up black kangaroo or something like that. So, overall, cool pair.
Cool. Good job, man. Good job, Isaac.
Next up, we have boot number 3. Oh, that boot was 2021, if I didn't say it aloud. We have boot number 3. This is also a 2021 purchase. This is, I've never heard of this brand before, but it's called a Ringers Western Packer Style Work Boot, which definitely makes sense. This is a... it's an Australian brand. Okay. So this is an Australian brand called Ringers Western. They're about $200. They're made in Lyon, and the internal toe is cardboard. And he got into these when he was getting into American barbecue and wanted a pair of work boots that he could beat up, but he wasn't willing to spend the money on whites or nicks at the time. So these are it's kind of interesting. They're using some dress shoe styles with like a French binding up on the top and like a very dressy heel counter. But they're also
mixture.
Yeah, they're also using a two-piece heel counter cover and backstay that is a little bit of more of a work boot. But it does look like it's a rubber outsole. Can't quite tell if that's real leather or fake leather heel stack. It is definitely a synthetic heel rand, though. It's completely black rubber and a completely different color, so it's definitely a synthetic heel rand. It might be a real Goodyear welt. It's hard to tell, but it's got your traditional road toe flower. It's more of a toe flower than a toe bug, but sometimes people call them toe bugs. Usually when they got 2 layers of flower. Yeah, it does have a kiltie in it. Unfortunately, at $200 it makes sense, but it does use the cheap eyelets. SPI is decent. Stitching doesn't look terrible. I'm not sure does he say what kind of leather this is? It's cheap leather. It has a plastic coating on top and is too thin to work. So my guess is it must be probably Lafargue, more than likely, especially since it's made in Lyon. So these were replaced by a pair of gym greens that he then passed on, but this was just kind of his step in trying to get something that he could use for, I'm assuming he means cooking in American barbecue, so something that could deal with heat, coals, getting beat up, stuff like that.
Good looking pair of boots.
Yep.
It's not as heavy as duty as I lean towards, but heavy duty isn't always everything. Nice affordable pair of boots. Do whatever you want in.
Yeah, it looks like he replaced them with a pair of gym greens, and then he passed those gym greens on because it was too small for his left. and too big for his right, so he's gone back to using these again. This is also 2021. Like I said,
the other photo does show the.
Yeah, it's just a straight.
Stay a little bit better.
Yeah, it's just a straight leather outsole. Like I said, I'm pretty sure that's a fake leather heel stack. I don't think that's a real leather heel stack. Kind of tell from the inside, it looks like it's got a coating or a liner on it. But overall, like I said, for a $200 pair, it's $200. I mean, this is a Thursday level of boot. Makes sense.
Yep. Exactly.
Next, we have his third pair of SEB, which is Sue Ingles Bespoke. This is a hiking boot in orange oiled nubuck with a broguing / medallion on the shaft, because he thought he might be able to wear them to the office. He said he went through a few this is 22 into 23, went through a few pairs of Grant Stones, found out about the Thunderdome at the end of 22, gave those away, and twisted Sue's arm to make him a sturdier, more robust boot for hiking, and went through several leather types and settled on this thicker work leather that's oiled heavily. He beat these up for a dome, and then he needed a resole during the summer, sent them to a local guy. He re-oiled them and ruined the patina that was on them, but his most worn pair of boots. So apparently on the patina app you can see the cool state that these were in, but they did get re-oiled when a local guy resold these, and that makes sense because it looks like he used a glue-on sole. But it does have a fleur-de-lis medallion on the shaft that's done in a broguing style. It is a single-piece heel counter cover backstay that goes all the way up. It is a 2-row stitch around most of the boot with reinforcement around the eyelets, and a glue-on Vibram unit sole. The liner looks like some kind of calf skin.
Broguing is a nice look. It's a good height, easier to put on and take off. Looks like it gives you plenty of ankle movement, not really restrictive.
Yeah, it doesn't say that 5 or 6 inch, but they're definitely between that 5 and 6 inch mark.
It's nice that it's a one-piece counter cover. The thread looks thicker in the pull tab than the rest of the boot.
Yeah, I almost wonder if that's not a camera illusion, or if she just doubled up on the leather and used a different sewing machine to sew it. It's hard to tell if that's just the camera lens playing tricks, though. Maybe a more sturdier machine needed to punch through the extra leather layers or something.
Still lined. The upper eyelets have a different look to them.
Yeah, definitely hiking style.
Yeah, hiking style. They're not D-rings, but hiking style. It's a nice, different look. Certainly look comfortable. Sure.
Yeah, I agree.
Did it say how much these were?
No, it did not. I'm assuming they're kind of in that same price range. They were bought later. But they did say they are his most worn boots. These are the ones he wears the most.
Yeah, the wear on them looks great.
Yeah.
They just really look comfortable the way they're broken in.
Well, he said that they had a much better patina, but when the guy re-oiled them, he ruined the patina. So they apparently did look better at some point.
You're just going to have to get after it and get it back. I would have liked to have seen them beforehand. That's a shame.
Actually, apparently there are pictures of it. If you go on the Patina app and you search for Sue Ingles, they're there. So they do exist, apparently. There are pictures of them before they were re-oiled. Maybe we can try to find that a little bit later.
I should have tried to do that before the video. My apologies.
Moving on. We have a pair of Thursday loafers in. It says Thursday Chrome. I'm assuming it means Chrome XL, maybe. They took a lot of stretch. Haven't worn them that much. They're his recovery boots for the Thunderdome. It's funny, they're called loafers, but they really look more like a boat shoe or a derby, because usually loafers don't have laces. I think they're really more of a boat shoe, but it is a mox toe style boat shoe / loafer. And these are leather sole. Looks like they got a day-night heel, or their version of day-night. It's not the actual brand of day-night. Overall, like I said, it's a boat shoe. It's Thursday. It look like they're decent. Looks like he's struggled with the fit on them. He now has enough room to wear them with thick socks, but it took a lot of effort to stretch them that way. Doesn't wear them that often, but they are his recovery shoe for the start of the Thunderdome this year, which means he probably would have just wore them in August and September. Not a bad pair of shoes.
Heavy-duty boat shoe, which probably doesn't have quite the right sole for a boat, but I'll be wearing them on a boat anyway.
Yeah. Like I said, they're not too bad. I mean, they're a pair of Thursdays. I mean, the fit, there's no width on these. There's no a lot of these styles, they don't even have half sizes all the time. But I mean, it's a boat shoe. It's a pair of Thursdays. So it says Thursday loafer in brown, Thursday chrome. I'm assuming that means Chrome XL, but looking at it, I think that means
look like Chrome XL.
Yeah, I think that means the Lafarque. Yeah, I think that's the Lafarque Chrome XL alternative is what this most likely is.
It's a good looking shoe. It's a matter of how it fits him.
Sounds like it didn't fit well, but after enough stretching, it got there.
Getting better.
Yeah. So.
I'm looking right now. Does it say you wear them with socks or not?
Yeah, he says he can wear them with thick socks now that he stretched them.
When I wear boat shoes, I don't ever wear socks. Wonder how it would fit.
I don't know. It's a good question. I'm not sure. He said it's
the way that it looks. If the lacing is as real as. No, wait.
No, it does. As you see
real.
the two laces there, they go down the side and they pop out and go across the back of the boot. So it looks like it can adjust the width all across.
No, it doesn't look like it to me. It looks like it looks ornamental. That lace isn't going. You wouldn't have a lace going underneath the bottom two eyelets. If it was real, it would. If it was real, it would go right into the first eyelet and start going up.
Well, that's what I say. If you look under the piece where they cross under and come to the middle to tie, they're not coming at the right angle. It almost looks like after they go under that guy, they pass around and come back. Because they come out at a funky angle. I had a pair of Thursday boat shoes once that you did have laces you could tie like that, and they did feed under to get to the back area. So it's just they come out at such an odd angle because they come out the top and tie. But we'll have to ask them on that. But
it would be the lower eyelet. It would be the lower eyelet you're looking at. The laces that are going around the heel would be coming into the bottom set of eyelets and going upward.
Yeah.
And if that were the case, there wouldn't be a cross lace under there. I think they're faux.
Well, that's what I mean. Is you see how there's a cross lace that goes under them, but the laces clearly come out through the top. I think once they pass under that top eyelet, they go across the thing, and then you see that coming back to where they pull out to tie them. Because otherwise, the lacing on it doesn't make any sense.
Looks ornamental.
Like I said, I had a pair of Thursday boat shoes once, and they did have a piece you could tie, and it did all work together. I just don't remember exactly how they worked. I don't have those stupid boat shoes no more. but they were not nice like these. They had like the white fluffy, that like glue on fluffy like tennis shoe looking outsole, and they were like a really crappy Lafarque like oiled nubuck leather that was like $80 for the shoes, so didn't keep them long, didn't fit well at all.
If it's an ornamental situation, you know what I mean by ornamental, right?
Yeah, where it's just there for show.
I know that the laces going through the two sets of eyelets are real.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's fake. The question that I'm wondering is the laces that are going around the heel, in and out, and going forward towards the front. Does it stop there, and is that ornamental, or does that lace continue up into the tying area? That's what I mean by faux or not.
Yeah. Is
there one leather lace on each shoe?
Yeah, the ones,
or is there two because one's ornamental?
Yeah, the ones I had, there was one lace for the whole shoe, but it could very easily be a single lace up there on the top, and then on the inside of the shoe be a knot that you tie right there, that you like pull it as tight as you need. You tie the knot and you just leave it knotted on the end, so it's like one piece that wraps around that's knotted on both sides, and then a second piece that ties across the top. It could be either, I don't know, and it's not easy to tell in the picture.
If that's the case, I would imagine that it would interfere with your
well, you see there's kind of a weird lump on the side right there. That's what kind of makes me think that. The other thing is the way the lacing comes through on it doesn't make a lot of sense. Like if you look at the right shoe specifically, well, it'd be his left shoe, but the right shoe in our view, see how it crosses over, comes together and ties, but there's a second lace that's coming across the bottom there that doesn't make any sense. That's not related to that at all on the top eyelet. Yeah. So that's what makes me think something's passing through, but what it is, I don't know. Like I said, go ahead.
If I had noticed it before we hit record, I would have dug out some of my boat shoes and looked closer. I have several pair of quote unquote real boat shoes, meaning that it is all one giant lace that's going all the way around the heel, coming forward and going through the eyelets. I don't think any of them have a straight bar of lace going between the bottom two eyelets. That's how they could.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. But like I said, the eyelet down the bottom looks like it's closer to the top eyelet, not the front eyelet. The front eyelet lines up with the end of the mock toe, so it looks like that lace lines up more with that top eyelet. But that doesn't guarantee anything. Like I said, it could just be knotted on the inside of there for all I know.
That couldn't. Yeah, that couldn't be where that lace goes. It couldn't be going from the top eyelet. Wouldn't make any sense unless the knot was being tied on the lower set of eyelets instead of the top set of eyelets.
No, I know what you mean.
Anyway, I guess we're spending a lot of time using a lot of words on this. Yeah. I brought it up because my mind was trying to wonder whether if they were mine, I could get away without wearing socks, because it's totally all leather. And if that lace, if each side truly has one lace, as a boat shoe should be, you'd be able to tighten up the heel area to allow for not wearing a sock. But if it's two different laces on each shoe, making part of it ornamental, then you wouldn't be able to tighten it up enough, and without a sock, it would fit too loosely. You wouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah. Well, I also wonder if there's just like I said, it's a single lace that wraps around and there's knots tied on each side, and you just pull one side, re-knot it, and that gives you that extra tightness too. It could be that as well.
Then you have a knot that's eaten into your foot.
100%. Yeah. I've seen boat shoes like that. It's possible that that's the way too. I really wish I still had that pair of Thursdays so that I could open it up and take a look. I can't remember which style it was.
At any rate, it's a nice leather. It's a nice shade. The stitching looks nice. They look comfortable.
Yeah, Look like a nice casual pair of shoes.
Comfortable casual shoe.
Looks like he's bumped the tip of them up against something quite a bit because they both got a little stub nose bump in them. Like he's bumped the tips of them into like a wall or a car or a door or something. All right. After that pair, he discovered wax lesh was a thing after finding those loafers. So he says he has wide feet, but he swam in these, and these are 8.5 double E Trumans, and he just says wax flesh. It looks like Java wax flesh, but it might be black wax flesh. They're both pretty close. He has Nyx insoles in the left one and a Nyx Delta Arch in the right.
Curious.
Yeah, I'm curious on that too, actually. He said there's a lot of wear on these boots, so much that he bought his first kiltie as the laces were cutting into his tongue. He restored these before the dome and sat down until probably March when it rains a lot. And that does track, because look how tarnished his eyelets and hooks are. Oops. We do not have a sole picture on these. I accidentally went to the next boot. They do have kilties. They're definitely a pair of Trumans. They're Goodyear welted. Stitching's usually pretty good. This pair looks pretty good across the board. Don't see any major flaws. Like I said, I'm pretty sure this is Java wax flesh. It's not quite dark enough for black wax flesh, but I could be wrong. Java's kind of their special shade that they do for just them. Leather laces, Truman's standard 5 eyelets into speed hooks. He said it's in the 79 last, which is their standard cap toe last. It's overall a nice pair of boots. I'm really curious about why there's regular insoles in one and Delta Arch in the other. Maybe a volume thing?
One foot has more arch than the other, or one foot has more fallen arch than the other?
Interesting. I would love to know the answer if you could put that in the comments, Isaac, of why exactly you're using a Delta Arch on one and insole on the other. I am dying to know. But overall, a nice pair of boots. Sorry, a little taken aback by the insole versus Delta Arch. That's a first. I don't know if I've heard of anybody doing that before that I can think of.
Seems like a man after my own heart, playing around and experimenting to find the perfect fit, regardless of whether anybody else has tried it or not, thinking outside of the box. Yeah, it's not something I've heard of. Certainly not something that I've personally felt trying or felt a need for. I need an arch on both sides.
Yep. So antique eyelets, leather laces. Don't know if I would have done the jagged kilties. I think I would have done the casual kilties on these, but to each his own.
Same, but I usually pick the casual personally. Yes, I would have picked it as well.
Also looks like he is oh no, never mind, that's not the case. They're just pulled up a little bit. Alrighty, next we have I don't think I've ever heard of this brand either. Golden Fox Wellington chore boot. So it's a slip-on Pecco style chore boot that's meant to match the Thorogood Wellington. Golden Fox.
I like it. I love pull-ons.
I've never heard of that brand.
I think the cut is done nice and simple. They look like they're really easy and really comfortable to pull on and off.
Yeah. So apparently fit was an issue with these. He thought they were a gum sole boots, but they're not. They're outdoor slip-on. He had to really build it up with Dale's Leatherworks insoles and some combinations to get the fit right. He removed the cheap liner and thin insole. They're a pair of shit kickers. So he wears them with thick socks. He's customized them to be essentially a pair of shit kickers.
I wish I could say I was surprised. A pull-on is certainly a lot harder to fit, but there's lots of people that just won't do pull-ons because they've tried several times and they can't get a pair to fit, and they give up. They never try again. It's a hard boot to fit. It's really, of all the boots out there, it seems like the one that really needs to be handmade for you.
100% agree with that statement. I am one of those people that is 100% in that category.
I have owned lots of cowboy boots that worked for me. Dan Post and Tony Lama both worked for me over the years. But once I've gone into engineer boots, and I had a pair of harness from Fry that fit me absolutely perfectly back in the day. As I've moved into engineer boots, yeah, I got to be custom fit for me.
Yep, I agree. I've had too many Indonesian pairs not do great. I've had a pair of Nicks that's only somewhat okay. I've just sworn off engineers until I get my creosotes and calling it a day.
I hope my Indonesian experience is not the same as yours.
I got one pair that fit great and one pair that didn't from the same maker, so it is what it is.
I really need them to fit perfectly so that I can buy a ton of them.
Yeah, King. Next, we have a pair of Grant Stone Travelers. He got these on a second sale. They're supposed to be chocolate bourbon, but due to a mistake with spilling some bacon on them and a wedding that got grass stains and a bunch of nasty stuff all over him, he tried to clean them up with saddle soap. Didn't work out. He has first suede shoes, so he didn't know that he wasn't supposed to use saddle soap on them. He had no idea to clean them. Then between the suede cleaner and everything else, they were pretty messed up. So he just waxed them. And after 5 hours of just waxing them, they caused them to shrink a bit. So he added comfort insoles. And then you get these essentially what look like waxed flesh boots that are, or waxed flesh loafers, penny loafers that are actually bourbon suede. Chocolate bourbon suede. Yeah.
What is the I guess he's got something in the heel there.
Yeah, that's a heel pad. I've seen people use them before. So for slip-on shoes, high heels, stuff like that. Yeah, they're a little heel pad that you glue in that just kind of hooks. I can see that he's got comfort insoles in there too, but my guess is he needs it because the one's probably longer than the other, like 1 foot's longer than the other, so he needs it in there to push his toes a little bit farther forward.
I've seen it advertised, but I've never bought one. Hope I won't need to buy one, but I buy that they're out there on the market and available if I ever do need it.
No, I mean, if you look at the state of him, he's definitely beat the liners up on these. He says these are his summer wedding shoes, but the liner shows they're definitely very worn.
Not sure which coin because of inflation.
kind that gets you mugged for just having them out in public. Hey, there you go. He can just stuff a Rolex in there and just take the band off a Rolex and stuff a Rolex into each one.
They look comfortable. If they're as comfortable as they look.
Well, he said originally the fit's awful, but by the time he added in the comfort soles and did all this to him, they're better now. He was going to return them, but he spilled bacon on them, so he couldn't return them.
I've been there, man. I've been there. It's even worse when it splatters.
Yeah. Well, my guess is they're probably like sitting on the counter or something or somewhere a little too close. most likely wasn't wearing them if he was going to return them. And then his pursuit of a summer shoe led to... zoom back right here. Led to these, which are his either fourth or fifth, I can't remember which one I'm on, pair of Sue Ingles Bespoke. These are burnt kangaroo sandal boots.
I love them. I think they're cool. They're lots of personality.
Yeah. He says that it took Sue an age to get these right. When they were done, she said, I have never spent so long on a pair of sandals. They are a cross between Grandpa's beach sandals, a Roman sandal, and a boot counter and sole that have been built up on the arch of his right boot. They are heavy and have his favorite sole, which is from a New Zealand company that's no longer in business. I'll show that here in a minute because I do have a picture of that. Looking forward to wearing these a lot in the coming months. Her sandals are cheaper than her shoes. My guess is he's looking forward to wearing them a lot in the coming months because it's now wintertime and they're probably not getting worn too much at the moment. And they have the last footwear company shoemakers from New Zealand's rubber sole on them.
I guess they're Velcroed.
Yeah, I can't quite tell in any of the pictures. It's got to be something like Velcro. I think you're probably right, but I can't 100% tell. But it looks like that's probably accurate considering it looks like it's just folding over on itself on each of the four straps. Also,
outside of the box on them.
Interesting note. Look at the way the buckles are done. They're all on going the same direction. Usually, you know how they're book matched, meaning they each go to the lateral side of each foot. But look, the right one's going to the medial side and the left one's going to the lateral side. It's interesting. I don't wonder what the purpose of that is. So you can do it all with the left hand? Yeah. I wonder if that's so you can do it all with the left hand, maybe? Interesting. In the comics below, Isaac, let us know why she did both of them going to the left. Both buckle sets to the left instead of one to the left and one to the right like you would normally do in a pair of sandals. I'm curious on that one.
Great looking shoe trees too, by the way.
Yeah, I've never heard of that brand either, Cedarscape. We'll have to look that up because the only boot trees I've ever seen are the ones from Woodlore with the Boss boot trees, and those are okay. Not a huge fan of those, so I wonder if that Cedarscape is any better. Looks like it's antique hardware. So I'm really curious why the right boot goes to the medial instead of the lateral. That is a very interesting idea. Huh.
Maybe she was trying to keep everything the same for the sake of design.
Maybe, but I would think
easier for her pattern.
Yeah, but I think it'd look weird looking down on it, wouldn't it? And even from like other people's point of view, I don't know. That's just I'm curious. Maybe there's a reason. There might be like some magical reason that I'm not aware of, but it would cause the two boots to flex slightly differently. Because now towards the inside, it's going to resist flexing on the right boot, where on the left boot, it's going to resist flexing on the outside.
Totally agree. I was trying to come up with anything to say. I'm always trying to think of different thoughts and ideas and think outside of the box. But I mean, I'm with you. I agree. Both should have gone to the outside.
I'm curious. Hopefully Isaac can tell us because I kind of want to know what the thought process there was.
And it does mention the arch built up on one side and not the other. So his arches are definitely different. Going back to that Delta arch, not Delta arch boot as well.
Yeah, that does make sense. Apparently, the last footwear company, Shoemakers, is out of business, which is too bad because on one of them it says sustainable and no horse shit. I want no horse shit with my soles too. All right,
I
next week.
haven't bought cedar trees for any of my thick leather quality boots because I haven't found the perfect set, and because it seems like the leather is thick enough to not need it. But there's still a part of me that says that they'd look a lot better when I open up my closet and look in if everything had a nice big cedar tree in it.
Oh, I do agree. I just don't like any of the cedar boot trees I've ever had, so I've never looked anymore. I've tried a couple, don't like them. They're nice for like a pair of Allen Edmonds or like a pair of Kangaroo Grant Stones or something, but like for like, you know, the P&Ws, my Floras, the Indonesians, the creosote, stuff like that, I've never seen a need for them, and I also just don't like the ones that I've found that much.
Maybe I'll have to create my own.
It's always possible.
Yeah, I'll even market it for others.
Something like that.
I don't know that there's a need, but there's got to be ones out there.
I'm sure there probably is. I've seen tons of people talking about it over the years. All right, boot number 7 is a pair of Drews. They're 8-inch logger combos. Doesn't say a color, but I'm assuming this is a brown. Looks a brown. He was sized in 8D. Spot on because they run big. He wanted a pair of winter hiking boots. He went with Drews and bought their contractors. He loved them, but he didn't feel like they were tough enough for the mountains down south. He did.
We were talking about that afterwards as well. He had some different notes on that, saying that.
Yeah, he mentioned
a lot less happy about the fit.
Yeah. Well, he also mentioned that they're two different hides, and he's definitely right. Like, they're definitely made with two different hides. The color on the two boots doesn't match at all. So he said they're two different hides. He also says they're missing stitching on the front row. Oh, wow, he is. Holy shit. Look, there's only a single row on the left one and a dual row on the light. They've missed a whole row of outsole stitching.
I wish I could say that this hasn't been happening. But
yeah. Well, he did make a note that Kyle Baker did tell him that if they ever fall apart, that he'll repair them for free. So I know it's in there. Apparently.
I've seen too many quality control issues. And not that I'm surprised, considering the nature of what's going on, price and the area of being built. It shouldn't be surprising that there's going to be some problems. The makers aren't caring quite enough, looking quite enough into the details, not handling them enough one by one. More of a factory scenario.
That's a lot of outsole stitching missing, though. That's a pretty tough one. He did say that at the end of October, these are his main shoes for the Milford Track, which is a 4-day hike in the deep South Island of New Zealand. He's interesting to know if they will hold up. He did say he did wax these, which is why the two different vamps look so different.
This guy gets around. Might be a little bit jealous here. World traveler.
Well, I'm almost wondering because there's a lot of references to New Zealand, like I said, I was just making an assumption based off the boot we haven't gotten to yet, that he lives in America, but maybe he lives in New Zealand. Or maybe he's from New Zealand and travels back a lot, one of the two. Next is his next pair of Sue Ingles Bespoke, and these are Chelsea. So we talked about earlier he got the Yodper because he had R.W. Williams. Well, when his R.W. Williams fell apart, he went back to Sue, and she made these. They were hand-me-downs and slightly small, so didn't want to pay to repair them. Chose a buffalo leather, which she warned me was mostly belly left. Right boot was absolutely beautiful with the rolls. The left one's pretty dramatic creasing. Great boots with the same sole as the sandals. They're his go-to slip-on boot.
It looks super comfy. Make note of the word buffalo versus bison. Bison being a type of buffalo, but there are other types of buffalo. So this is probably water buffalo from Asia. Definitely looks very comfortable.
Yep, and I can definitely tell he's right. The left boot is definitely a little close to the belly. You're seeing a lot more creases and kind of fat lines and stuff in it, whereas the right boot is definitely a lot more structured, so it's probably closer to the skirt. Does have the no horseshit soles on them. These were purchased in 2024.
Like a great go-to boot. Throw it on and go out and get the mail. Throw it on and wear it all day. Cover.
Yeah, I agree. Don't think we have a picture. Yeah, we do not have a picture also on these.
Chelseas are hard. They don't always fit the right. They don't always break right. They don't always slip on and off the way that you want them to. The elastic doesn't always hold up. So there are lots of potential problems with them. I always... It takes a while to get one to break in the right place for me. It always wants to eat into my shin.
Yep.
I've never had a perfect pair of Chelseas yet.
I have never had a pair of Chelseas that fit me at all until my floor night bootines. That's what I said. That's why I own a pair of Yodpers. I never could find Chelseas that would fit. That was the entire purpose.
Guy who's making my engineers for me right now asked me if I was sure that I didn't want some Chelseas. I said I was sure, but I guess if I was confident enough of the way that they would fit, maybe I could be talking.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, there is some upsides to them. They're a little easier to get on and off in engineers with the elastic, so they can be a little bit tighter, but it's still very similar fit styles. So I'd wait to see how the engineers go.
I actually feel engineers are easier to get on. You don't have to bend over quite as far.
No, I mean, like getting your foot in and out of them, like in terms of fit. Not sorry, in terms of taking them on and off.
The elastic seems like it should help it more. It seems like if the engineer fits right, then Chelsea would fit right. But it would have to be the right leather. I don't. Yep. Chelsea, it seems like it's got to have a much more supple leather.
Oh yeah. No, you're not wrong. Though I say that, my favorite bootines are Shinky Horse Rump, which definitely is not a supple leather at all, and it's been fine. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just talking out my ass on that one. Because the ostrich is definitely a much more soft and supple leather, but I do like the fucking 8.5 ounce Shinky Horse Rump quite a bit. It's actually what I'm wearing right now.
Kangaroo and Chelsea seem like a match made in heaven.
I would agree with that. Would agree. Next, he bought a pair of Parkhurst Ramblers. That's an interesting sentence. So he likes his boots, great boot. He's worn it more than he thought he would. They have the full Delta arch in them. Doesn't mention right or left. He just says full Delta arch in them. He loves the Rambler leather, and I do 100% agree. Rambler leather gives you so many benefits. It also helps with his sizing problems too. He says the toe box is a little too low is his biggest complaint. It's a good looking boot. It's easy to dress up. He wears them a lot.
It's a great combo last.
Yeah, it's called the 618 last. But I don't know much about the Parkhurst last, so I'm not just going to leave it. It's the 618 last. Looks like they're a little tighter than Truman's.
Spot on, so as long as your toes don't hurt, that's good.
No. So they're in the Truman style of 5 eyelets, except instead of only 2 speed hooks, they are 3 speed hooks. He did have issues with the tongue, so he did put the NYX Cobalt Kilties in. Assume that means Cobalt English Bridle by the looks of it. Yep, that's a little nuts. And I do agree, Rambler is a fantastic leather. It's honestly, if we were talking specifically about casual leather start to finish, Rambler is probably the casual leather. It is a very difficult leather to beat from that perspective. They break in around the ankles really good. They're usually nice and light. They're a lot more durable than you'd expect for a suede. And it's a wax suede, but still a suede. And just overall, they conform to your feet extremely well. Definitely not something to do hard work in, but they're definitely a great, kind of do it all with some decent abrasion resistant leather. I have a pair of whites and winter smoke Rambler that I like quite a bit.
Looks like a great casual boot, all around everything.
Yeah, it looks like he's worn it for more than casual because he's got a couple slices in the left boot's toe. But like I said, there's a little bit of wax on top of that. That'll go away, no problem. That's the beauty of Rambler. For heavy scratching environments like the data center, I found Rambler to be good because everything's sharp and scratches, so it's a good alternative to just pure rough out. But I do like them. Do like the 2-row stitch too. These were bought in 24. Next up, going along with the 24 purchase, sir, it looks like you bought a ton of boots in 24, is Drew's Contractors in Rowdy Smooth 6-inch.
Went back to the Mexican Drews again.
Let's see.
2 inches shorter.
Yeah. Tried saving them for the dome, but started to panic in June with the sizing and ended up wearing them for the rest of the winter. He's got to be in New Zealand, or at least Australia, because he says June and winter. So that definitely, it has to be Southern Hemisphere, because that is definitely the summer for us. So it's like, this is the second time I've seen like warm through the winter through the June months, and it's like June's the middle of the summer. He's got to be in the Southern Hemisphere
the whole time.
Yeah.
Probably should have asked.
Yeah, he's got to be in the Southern Hemisphere. Said you wouldn't
rotated him on his sanity walks.
Yeah, well, he said
I know what you mean on the sanity walks.
Yeah, he said you wouldn't know it, but he did wear them all winter. He's not the biggest fan of the 430 mini lug. I 100% agree. Fuck the 430. That of all the soles that need to go away, that's the first on the list, right after fucking wedge soles. He does love the arch support, so I'm assuming these must be that 55 combo last on this particular pair. I don't think we have a picture of the heel to know. We don't really have a picture of the heel to know.
I'm sure that it is. I think they all are.
So cool. Arched boot. No more 430. All right.
As long as it fits them right.
Yep. He didn't mention anything about fit on these at all, so they must be spot on. Next, he has Oak Street Bootmakers and Chrome XL Natural Rough Out. He waxed the crap out of these, which is why they look like more like natural wax flesh than natural Chrome XL, which is basically the same thing. And they have a NYX navy kilty in them at the moment, which they definitely do. It's that same navy cobalt color. He mentions the size, not important. These are his current dome boots, so he's 2 weeks in. He says he misses his P&Ws and Trumans a lot. He put in the NYX half soles in them. While it's so much better, it's still not the same build quality, which, single row stitch, it's Goodyear welted versus stitch down, so I definitely do understand that. Do we have a picture? Yeah, definitely 2-row stitches in most places, shorter heel counter and heel counter cover. Probably it's Oak Street, so they're probably a synthetic counter too on top of that. They performed decently well in rough terrain, but the laces broke one day and he has an older pair of laces in them. He does not like the day-night sole that they come with, and I would agree, though it's better than the mini lug. We don't want no 430s
cool.
here.
A nice novel look.
Yeah, it doesn't say which last it is, so this particular model must have a specific last associated with the model type. But it is a nice pair of boots. I do like the fact that you waxed it to kind of look like natural wax flesh. It does have a good look to it. For only a couple weeks of wear, I am kind of shocked at like how much creasing and stuff it has in it already, which is seems a little excessive. So maybe it's a slightly thinner leather.
It's thinner than most of his boots, but
Yeah.
better than most of the boots we talk about, yes.
Yeah, I mean, well, like I said, it's a natural Chrome XL, so you can definitely, I mean, you could tell by the cross section of the upper leather that it's definitely a little on the thinner side. Because he even doubled up with the collar of the top, on the collared top, it's still not super thick. Next up, he has another this year purchase. These are NYX Free Range and British Tan. Thought Free Range was a type of leather, but it looks like they are a wedge sole style boot. Thought the Free Range is where they picked the leather clicking for you. But I think this is like their travel or something, like their Traveler model. They're unworn.
I think Free Range is when they pick it for you, and that's British Tan is what they happen to pick.
Yeah. These are unworn. He's expecting to break them in over the summer, which I also thought was weird when I read it earlier, but now that I know he's in the Southern Hemisphere, makes sense because summer's coming up for him because we're getting ready to start winter. Their Christmas present to himself. That is extremely odd to think of Christmas as a summer holiday. That one hurts the soul a little bit. He loves the look of the British Tan. It's very similar to the Oak Street's pre-break-in, which, makes sense since they're both Chrome XL. He has not wore these yet. Once again, they're... I hate wedge soles so much. I'm not gonna say anything nice about wedge soles. They do look like they're the single piece backstay. They are the single piece backstay. Here it is.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, single piece backstay.
Great touch.
Fucking wedge soles are awful. Hope you like them. I really do hope you like them because I can't stand them.
I like that there's no pull tab. I like that it's a one-piece backstay cover. They would have wanted them to be rolled top personally. I don't know if that's part of the Free Range thing or not.
I don't know. The one thing that does stick out to me,
anything that has anything to do with me not having 100% choice is not something I'm thinking about.
Yeah. Well, and you can, at the kind of the top of that single piece backstay, you can see the backstay poking through a little bit. That's the biggest reason why he's talking that it would be nice to have like a rolled top or something, at least covering and protecting that backstay at the very top, because you can see where they meet together. I mean, I do like the fact that you chose a sand colored one over brown or black. I do think the sand matches with the natural edge a lot more. Do you think that's a good choice? Is it just me, or does the midsole seem thinner than normal? I wonder if that's just the angle.
Well, they're not. Ooh.
Yeah, you see what I mean?
That doesn't have a full midsole.
No, it does. It has a full midsole. It's just, I think it's just thinner.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
It's missing the
right.
lineman shank that you would normally have, but I think it's just thinner.
Zoom in a little bit.
Yeah. Which is another good point. Why is it missing a lineman shank?
Well, because Nick's doesn't do that.
Even on a wedge sole boot?
In my opinion, they're no, when they wanted to do the wedge, they decided to do that Delta arch shit instead of doing the lineman shank. I think it's retarded.
That's weird. I figured you would still need to do the lineman shank even with the Delta arch to still get the profile of the sand right.
Oh, the Delta arch. I mean, the lineman shank is the way that they're able to do a 55 last by bringing the heel up a little bit more. That and using the 2021, which already brings it up a little bit also.
Yeah, that part I know. But even
Nick's is doing an H&W with the Delta arch as a way of approaching it differently. I don't think it's a good approach.
Yeah, well, even Frank's, when they do a ground pounder in the H&W with either the sand or the Christie, they still give you a lineman shank to balance the boot out. I think you would still need a lineman shank to balance the boot out to not want to feel like you're leaning backwards, and it kind of looks like you're going to be feeling like you're leaning backwards in those.
I think I've only seen one pair of H&Ws with a lineman shank, because the customer ordered it that way. Oh, I think that's the difference between the 55 and the H&W is whether the lineman shank is there.
Yeah, before my ground pounders got rebuilt to Rainier's, they had a lineman shank on the 55. Or sorry, on the H&W. My original first pair of Franks. And I didn't order it with lineman shank. That's what I was confused by. I'm pretty sure Frank still does that on H&Ws.
Surprised. Although, which wedge did you have? Maybe that's the difference. I
had the Christie. I had the 4114.
Maybe that's why. Because the Christie is a lower heel in the 2021.
That's possible. Cool deal. Well, hopefully these work out for you. I still
nice boots, and that's one of my favorite colors of brown. I do like
a British tan, yeah. British tan, cool color. It's a very bronzy color. It's kind of it's like a slightly darker natural Chrome XL, and that's my favorite thing about natural Chrome XLs. It's a state more than it's a color, and it's the only color you get in any natural that's got that kind of like bronzy metallic look to it, and British tan Chrome XL has that too. A lot of the other Chrome XLs don't have that.
I'll make you very happy. Merry Christmas.
Summer Christmas. That is such a weird thing to say aloud. After I say it.
Belly to Mickey Maka is the way. Is it the island's way?
I have no idea.
Not close enough to the holidays to have watched the movie by myself.
And then the final boot is a pair of Drew's Trever, Trever. It's a Drew's cowboy boot. I don't know how to pronounce the model. They were purchased for him by a friend because he was becoming too American. He used to do a lot of horseback riding, but if he ever hits the dance floor of the ranch, he'll take these. he says they'll probably replace the Western boot we showed earlier. The $200 Western boot is his country themed boot. I'm gonna be 100% honest.
It is more country themed than a Wellington.
No. The Ringer, it's that Packer lace-up boot that we showed in the very beginning. It's like boot number 3. Yeah.
Right. Oh, for sure.
I didn't know Drew's made cowboy boots. To be 100%
Oh, they
honest.
don't.
Well, yeah, but sorry, they didn't order cowboy boots. However you want to phrase it. I didn't realize they were doing that.
Yeah, they've been doing cowboy boots for a long time. What's the company that makes the Del Mercedes or whatever?
Oh, Rio's a Mercedes?
El Rio, yeah, that stuff. That's who they source. So they're good. They're good boots. El Rio, Del Mercedes, whatever the hell.
Yeah, like I said, it looks like it's a leather heel stack. Fancy stitchings, a fern style that you see a lot of people using. Dual pull holes, got a nice corded toe flower. Looks to be either Goodyear or, well, it's most likely Goodyear welted. You can kind of see with the welt transition there on this one boot.
It's a great boot. If I was buying a pair of over-the-counter cowboy boots, it would certainly be on the list of ones I'd be considering.
Looks like they have a leather outsole. It's got a D embossed in, or actually that's debossed into it.
Get it? Joe. D is debossed.
Yeah.
I think you'll really enjoy them. I think you'll own them for a long time and be very happy with them.
Yeah, like they've got a nice SPI. They've got a really high SPI on the Goodyear welt stitch. On the actual welting itself, the toe flower is done very well. It's a nice corded toe flower, so it's got a rigid feel to it. They just run a little cord under it while they're sewing it so that you can feel the bump. It's got a nice crown on it. Stitching's all quite nice around, high SPI. It's an 8-row fancy stitch, which is a nice fancy stitch done in multiple colors. The binding
stained edges.
Yeah, it's
black.
Yeah, it's black cherry stain, which is nice. The bindings up at the top aren't done quite the nicest. They've got some little overhang that you're not supposed to see. It's like the French binding is a little too thin in comparison to the shaft leather. Pull holes are done well. They're done with a nice cloth edge banding, which is the sewing machine that does it a whole bunch of times in a row. That way that they have some protection against pulling. Looks like it's a calf skin liner. Probably also a French calf of some kind. Vamp too. More than likely Lafargue. It looks like some kind of oil tanned. It's an interesting cowboy boot toe. It's kind of like almost a number 3 H&W instead of like your traditional like almond or square toe. Yeah, it's not quite number 2, but it's definitely between a 3 and a 2.
Yeehaw!
Yep. I do like the fact that it is leather outsole. Cowboy boots should be leather outsoled. Leather sole, best sole.
Sure.
They are stained on the bottom. It's like a fairly standard. It does look like it is a glued on heel cap instead of a nailed on. You might pay attention to that. That is a little bit more important in cowboy boots. That's an interesting choice. Usually you nail those on. You don't just glue them on. You don't have to drive it through the entire heel stack, but enough to keep it on. But that is the collection. 2 pairs of shoes and 12 boots. No, 13 boots. He wrote 12 twice. 13 pairs of boots. So, Jeff, next boot for him to buy recommendations.
He has collected a lot of boxes. The The amount of hiking that it seems like he does, I kind of feel like I've said this several times at this point, and I might be turning into a broken record, but it's just such a nice boot. I think I'd say a Frank's Riker. The canvas sides would probably be nice for what he does. Did say he was already, I think, working with Frank's on a rebuild, thinking about working with Frank's on a
Yeah.
rebuild.
I mean, I believe that was on the first pair of Drew. No, it's not Drew's. It was on a pair of. Oh crap! Hold on, I'm looking now.
It was a pair of Drews.
It was, but I can't find it now because that Drew says they fit.
So yeah, I do think a Frank's Riker. I'm not totally sure which sole. Maybe the Sierra sole. Maybe like that boot that Junior had put together to play softball in.
Oh yeah. The little 5 or 3 or 4 inch one. Yeah, that was the Riker with the wedge sole. And then he did the Elvis or Sierra. I can't remember which one it was.
Another one that might be interesting for him, considering the directions that he's gone and where he is. Maybe a Jim Green.
So he did mention he had a pair of Jim Greens in one of these. It was the Ringer Western boots that he wore the Jim Greens to do American Barbecue for a while, and then he passed those on because they weren't cutting it. So it looks like he's
already tried Jim Green. Okay, so scratch that.
I was honestly thinking a pair of monkey boots. Monkey boots are pretty good hiking boots. So he's got a lot of other options. I was thinking a pair of monkey boots. Whether they be like a pair of Franks or Indonesian, a pair of monkey boots in a horse rump or a kangaroo leather for hiking. I think would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I could see that. And New Zealand, Australia seems to have some UK influence, and UK has made a style out of the monkey boot quite a bit over the years. Might work pretty well where he's at.
Yep, that's kind of my thought. All right, Grail boot. What do you think for a Grail boot? This was a little bit more difficult. I'm struggling on this one a little bit more. I'm also trying to look for where he said which pair he was getting rebuilt, and I'm struggling to find it. I could have swore I said it aloud, but now I'm not sure which boot it was under.
The Riker was easy for me to say because it's still different than a lot of the things that he's done so far, because I kind of feel like we're still trying to zero in on his perfect boot. And since he does seem more casual, I could add that maybe I might make the Riker a single row stitch instead of a dual row stitch so that he could sand it down a little bit more. I have no idea what I'd say for a Grail because I don't get enough. I don't get a good enough idea of his direction.
I agree with that one. So I was just going to go kind of wild with it. He's got a lot of kind of dress shoes or stuff that's kind of dress shoe like. So I was actually going to go kind of crazy and go with a Francis Walpinger bespoke in alligator Cayman. I was shooting for the fences. It was tough, but he has enough kind of business casual enough boots that I was thinking, maybe like a split toe Norwegian or something in that kind of derby loafer style. And crocodile Cayman.
Maybe that German guy.
Oh, Dennis from Custom Craft?
Maybe Dennis could put something together cool for him.
Probably could. like I said,
Being European, something with European flair.
yeah, like I said, I could be entirely off on that, but like I said, he seems to be a guy that is interested in kind of a little bit more dressier styles while at the same time being rugged. That's why I was leaning towards, like I said, a Francis Walpinger bespoke. It could be a loafer or derpy, and that came in. But we could be completely off. Maybe he's like, oh, you guys talk about creosote all the time. I'd love a pair of creosote engineers. How'd you miss that one? You might turn your video off and on real quick, Jeff. It looks like you're kind of frozen. You're in the thinking man pose.
Sorry.
That's not a problem. Not a problem at all. I just happened to notice it.
Well, he doesn't have an engineer. That would be a nice recommendation.
Yeah.
He's gotten close. He's danced around it,
Yep.
so to speak. Yeah. I mean, he's got the Wellington there, and he's got the cowboy boot.
It's also got a Chelsea and a Yodper as well, which is the other half of that spectrum.
Right. Yeah, he's dancing around an engineer. He needs an engineer.
Ding, ding, ding. Ring the bell.
Good MTO engineer.
I agree,
A
especially
lot of good Indonesians builders that are in his corner of the world. He's where I think he is. Could make him a really good measure to fit. Maybe even just use the measurements that he's already used with
Sue. Yep.
and with Sue.
Mm-hmm. Especially in a horse rump. Nice horse rump engineer could be good. Like I said, I still thinking he might be the man who wears a pair of Cayman penny loafers. I don't know if I've ever seen it before, but God, that would be cool. It'd be completely
So
out of control, but it'd be cool.
so bold. He doesn't have any horse, so thinking horse engineer, one of the Indonesian builders.
Yeah, I can see it. Can definitely see it.
Maybe in since he likes those blue kilties, but seeing a blue, maybe a dark blue horse engineer.
Yeah, I said the Shinky horse rump has it's kind of a brighter electric blue, but you have Merriam horse rump, which is definitely a much darker blue. It's getting in that almost black area. So yeah. And that doesn't even count, like the Chloe's and some of the others that do the horse rump as well. But yeah, absolutely. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe. I know we need to be saying that shit in the beginning, and we blow past it 9 out of 10 times. Or 11
This is
out of
the
10
worst
times.
time to say it.
I mean, it's probably already done it at this point, by the time at this point in the video. But I don't know, this is one of those, we just need to be better saying at the beginning. Sometimes we do these in kind of, succession in the week, so they're kind of close together. So, like, we catch it in a group and then miss it in a group. That's because it's a week that we just forgot to do it while we're doing 3-4 recordings in the same week. So it happens.
As usual, look forward to the comments. Pleasure as always.
Yep. Hope you guys keep enjoying the boot collections. If you have a boot collection, reach out down in the comments or via Facebook Messenger. I think Jeff has his information for that somewhere. If not, from the comment section, he'll let you know how to get a hold of him. And then I think we have one more boot collection after this. So this is back to the picture style. I know some people liked the Everett style and some people liked the Tony style. That's not possible for everybody. So the pictures will probably be the much more common way this will happen. But I hope everybody enjoyed. This is collection number 4. 4? Is that right?
Yep, 4.
So
yep.
Hopefully not the 5 won't be the end and we'll have more to come. As always, see you in the next
These have been fun.
Yeah. No, like I said, I think
Um,
they're good point in time content. And I think they're also good for people to get ideas from. But as always, we'll see you guys in the next one.
Launch